Your child is in the hallway for school, one sock on, one missing, backpack in chaos. You could fix it fast, but why does it happen again tomorrow? Research shows German children practice organization daily, just not the way most parents expect. So what's different? Today, we'll reveal the simple German rule that builds self-organization from the inside out and why nagging never does. Let me ask you something. How many times today have you already repeated yourself? Put it back. Pick it up. Where's your uniform? Don't forget your bottle. And the exhausting part is, you're not doing it wrong. You're doing what most parents do. You prompt. You remind them. You step in when things start falling apart. But tomorrow, you'll run the same script again. Because nothing sticks. According to pediatrics research, that's the trap. Stress gets fast movement because it flips the brain into survival mode. But that same stress makes planning, memory, and self-control harder to access in the moment, so you get motion, not the skill. And here's why. Every time your child forgets and you become the reminder, their brain learns it doesn't need to hold the system. It can wait for you. Not because your child is lazy, because brains are efficient. If an outside brain is doing the job, the inside brain stops practicing. Over time, you become the cue, the pressure, the rescue plan. And the moment you're not there, everything collapses because the system was never internal. It was you. Here's the change most people never make. Getting a child to comply is not the same thing as teaching a child to be organized. Compliance is external. It happens because you're present, you're enforcing, and you're escalating. Organization is internal. It's the ability to follow a sequence, notice what's missing, solve a small problem, and recover from a mistake without needing someone to run the entire operation. And German parenting tends to build that internal skill early, not by being stricter, not by piling on academics in the early years, but by treating children like capable humans in training. That's why so many parents have that wait what moment in Germany. Kids walk or bike to school with real independence. Kids play outside with more freedom. Adults don't intervene instantly in every small struggle. And in early childhood spaces like Kitas, the emphasis is often on play, social learning, nature, and practical competence instead of pushing early reading. From the outside, it can look relaxed, but it's not random. It's strategy. By the way, this isn't just a parenting style. The CDC's parenting guidance is very clear that kids do better when adults build structure, predictability, and follow-through instead of running life through constant reminders. That's what we're using here. The rule is simple. Don't do for your child what they are capable of learning to do themselves. That's it. That's the whole thing. And it's so uncomfortable because it forces one crucial moment to happen. Your child has to practice the skill, not watch you perform it. Most parents accidentally skip practice because we want mornings to be smooth. So we pack the bag, we lay out the uniform, we remind them every step, we rescue the missing item, we do it just this once to avoid drama. And in the short term, it works. In the long term, it trains a child to rely on outside pressure instead of an inside plan. Think about balance. You can hold the bike forever, but your child won't learn to ride. At some point, you have to let go, not to abandon them, but to give their body the chance to learn. Organization works the same way. The brain builds self-management by carrying small responsibility repeatedly in safe ways until the routine becomes automatic. So what does this rule look like in real life? You can spot it in 4 pillars. The first place many parents see it is the playground, a big wooden climbing structure. Kids are high up, testing balance, experimenting with risk. Parents are nearby, but they're not hovering like helicopters. They're watching. They're trusting. That trust doesn't mean, I don't care if you fall. It means, I believe you can learn your limits. German parenting often allows age-appropriate risk. The environment isn't padded into a bubble where nothing ever goes wrong. It's a place where children learn boundaries by experience. And that matters for organization because the child who learns, I can manage my body in a tricky situation, is also learning, I can manage myself. Confidence and competence don't stay in one box. They spill into everything. Into remembering what comes next. Into packing a bag. Into solving small problems without panic. Now, yes, Germany also has infrastructure and culture that supports independence. But the part you can copy anywhere is the parenting mechanism. Practice, responsibility, routines, and fewer rescues. And German-style parenting often includes something modern parents struggle with. It allows mild discomfort. It lets a child feel the natural result of a choice, not cruelly, not dramatically, just realistically. Because real learning doesn't come from speeches, it comes from experience. When you constantly remind a child, your voice becomes the cue. And when you become the cue, the child's brain doesn't have to initiate the routine on its own. That's why reminders feel helpful, but can quietly weaken internal responsibility over time. But when a child practices the same sequence consistently, the brain starts automating it. The habit system starts building a pathway. This happens, then this happens, then this happens. The routine becomes less about motivation and more about flow. Now here's the catch. Pressure can create movement, but pressure also creates stress. And stress interferes with planning. Under stress, the prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for planning, impulse control, and self-regulation, doesn't work as well. That's why yelling gets quick compliance, but doesn't build long-term skill. You get movement, not maturity. German parenting leans away from the pressure cycle and toward building the child's internal system through routine, competence, calm, and space. Firstly, routine is a system. In many German homes and schools, children aren't constantly being fed individual instructions all day. The day has a rhythm, a predictable structure. That's why early childhood settings often emphasize play and daily flow instead of heavy academics. Kids practice managing themselves inside routine, transitioning, cleaning up, negotiating, returning to structure. At home, this looks like repeated household systems, a consistent place for shoes, a regular time to reset the space, a predictable moment for bag packing. The point isn't control, the point is predictability. Being organized is really just knowing what happens next without someone narrating your life. And the key detail is this: the routine can't belong only to the parent. If the routine is, mom does everything and calls it structure, the child learns dependence. The German rule pushes responsibility down to the child in small, repeatable ways until the routine becomes theirs. The second pillar is treating responsibility as proof of competence. This is where many parents miss the mark. They use chores as consequences. You didn't listen, so now you clean. That teaches chores as humiliation, not skill. German-style responsibility tends to feel more like a contribution. You're part of this family, you help. Children are often given real, age-appropriate tasks: carrying their own bag, putting shoes away, helping with simple prep, learning practical skills instead of being kept away from everything dangerous forever. Some parents even allow supervised use of matches or real knives in an age-appropriate way because the goal is competence, not fear. It's also why German parents often avoid constant, empty praise. Instead, you'll see more honest, constructive feedback, not harsh criticism, just reality-based responses that build resilience. Because organization requires a child to notice mistakes without melting down. It's not just about tidy spaces, it's an emotional skill. The third pillar is maintaining calm above all. A lot of organization problems are actually nervous system problems. A parent is rushed. A child senses the rush. The whole room tightens. And then we try to teach planning and responsibility in a moment where the child's brain is more reactive than reflective. Of course, it doesn't stick. German parenting often looks calmer in public because it's less about performing control and more about quietly holding boundaries. You'll notice more directness, less panic, less emotional escalation over normal child behavior. And that matters because regulation is contagious. Children mirror your tone, your urgency, your emotional temperature. Harvard's Center on the Developing Child talks about how kids' brains are built through responsive relationships and repeated experiences. When the environment is consistently high stress, kids don't practice regulation the same way. If you want a child who can calmly check their own bag, that skill can't be built in an environment where mornings are powered by panic. Calm isn't softness. Calm is the environment where self-regulation can grow. The fourth pillar is watchful distance, not constant intervention. This is the pillar that makes people uncomfortable. German parents often practice a form of intentional stepping back. You see it in outdoor play. You see it in conflict. Adults may guide with questions, help children notice feelings, help them consider the other person, but they often don't jump in instantly to fix everything. This builds problem solving. It builds empathy, and it builds recovery, one of the most underrated parts of organization. Because an organized child isn't just neat. An organized child can lose something and recover, forget something and adjust, make a mistake and learn from it. Think of a simple scenario. A child forgets their pencil. In many homes or classrooms, the adult either scolds or rescues. Both teach the same message: someone else manages my mistakes. In a home using the German rule, the adult notices, stays calm, and gives the child space to solve it. The child asks appropriately, feels the mild discomfort of forgetting, and the brain encodes the lesson because the child owned the solution. And that's why consequences work best when they're consistent and predictable, not emotional. The CDC frames consequences as a tool to teach, not to scare. That's how organization becomes internal. So how do you implement this without turning your life into chaos? Here are 5 practical steps. Start by replacing constant instructions with predictable sequences. Stop giving 10 separate commands every morning. Instead, create a consistent order: bathroom, clothes, breakfast, bag, shoes. The magic isn't the list. The magic is repetition. Your child's brain needs the same flow enough times that it starts running automatically. If your child struggles to remember, make the sequence visible. But the point is not to narrate it every day. The sequence is the cue. Next, turn commands into ownership questions. Instead of "put your shoes on," ask, "What's the next step before we leave?" Instead of "pack your bag," ask, "What do you need for school today?" This isn't a cute trick, it activates thinking. Commands often trigger resistance or passive compliance. Ownership questions activate agency, and agency is where self-organization begins. Third, design the environment so organization is physically possible. If your child can't reach the shelf, they won't put the book away. If there's no simple hook for a jacket, the jacket becomes floor decoration. Fourth, acknowledge effort before aesthetics. If your child folds something badly, don't crush the attempt. If they clean up messily, don't turn it into a critique session. The habit comes before the polish. If organization becomes a place where kids feel judged, they avoid it. If it becomes a place where they feel capable, they improve. And fifth, stop rescuing in small ways so consequences can teach. If your child forgets something minor, don't always sprint to fix it. If they keep forgetting to put their uniform in the laundry, let them experience the mild discomfort of a wrinkled uniform once, then calmly ask, "What's your plan so this doesn't happen again?" Notice what we're doing here. No shaming, no lecturing. Life teaches, and you coach the child to build a system. And the AAP's parenting guidance talks about raising capable kids by gradually handing them real responsibility, so they learn independence through everyday life, not just through correction. That's the German rule in real life. You still support your child. You collaborate, but you stop being their external brain. You teach them to build their own. What about strong-willed kids and messy personalities? Now you're probably thinking, "My kid is strong-willed. This won't work." Here's the twist. Strong-willed kids don't resist structure. They resist being controlled. This approach works well for them because it provides structure with ownership. You're not wrestling them into compliance. You're making them responsible for the system. A child who fights every command can become shockingly consistent when they feel the routine belongs to them. Or maybe you're thinking, "My kid is naturally messy." Some people function in piles. Some kids prefer visual clutter. The goal isn't a showroom. The goal is competence. Can they find what they need, manage time, pack what matters, recover after mistakes, contribute without you chasing them? That's the organization. Or maybe you're thinking, "I don't have time to build systems." I get it. You're tired. You're carrying a lot. But look at the real trade. Right now, you're already spending time on reminders, escalation, last-minute saving, and daily conflict. This is not more work. It's different work. You invest up front so you can stop running the routine forever. Back to the hallway scene. One sock missing, backpack exploded, shoes untied until you're about to lose it. That doesn't have to be your morning, because kids don't learn organization from pressure. They learn it from a predictable sequence, small responsibilities that are theirs, a calm tone that keeps their thinking brain online, and space to solve little problems without you rescuing. That's the rule. Not because it's German, but because it's how self-management is built. So start tiny this week. Hand over one job. Let them pack the bag or find the shoe. Let a small consequence teach, then help them make a plan. And one last thing, when they're overwhelmed, routines won't stick. If this was helpful, make sure to subscribe for more parenting advice to make your life easier.